This isn't the first time I've brought this up on the podcast. I brought it up a couple times, at least. And the thing is, it's not getting any better. I first I criticized the Star Wars fans. The first time I ever did a topic like this. And the reason why is, Star Wars fans are terrible right now. They're divisive, they're angry, they fight, they push. On social media, not in life. You go to those conventions, you find a Star Wars fan, and you forget about all the bad and all the negativity. You rejoice in the fact that you are there with somebody who has gone through the Star Wars journey with you. When it comes to social media, when it comes to online, and it's not just Star Wars anymore, but these fandoms are just so rotten and mean. It's not even like it's deserving. It's this level of entitlement that people have. People think they are entitled. They think they're entitled to have everything they want when it comes to film or television or animation. If it's not what they want, screw it, it's terrible, it's bad, go away. And they start to freak out. And it's really ridiculous. Here's a great example of the current one. And I talk about them quite a bit. And I don't do it because I want to be picky and call them out. I want to call them out because they're annoying, they're ridiculous, they're dumb, they need to stop. They're not helping anything. Ollie of Snyderverse, the Snyder cultists is what I call them. Because they have become a cult. But they sit there and say, fuck the DCU, day 224, pass it on. Fire James Gunn, boycott Warner Brothers, restore the Snyderverse. Why? Why do you have to be so negative? Who hurt you, Ollie of Snyderverse? You don't do anything. It's not constructive what you're doing. And that's kind of a big part of being a fan is, yes, we get to criticize. We don't have to like everything that comes out. We don't have to love everything that comes out. We don't have to hate. We shouldn't hate, because if we hate it, then what's the point of being a fan? But my guess is this Ollie of Snyderverse is a fan of DC, and he wants to see the DC brand succeed. I can't imagine that he wasn't a fan of DC before watching a Snyderverse film. And even if he was, I would encourage him, or it wasn't, I would encourage him to go read some DC comics to get a better understanding of the lore, of the characters, and see what is possible and what we might get with the new DCU. Luke Tremblay, enough is enough. It's time to take a stand once and for all. Snyder fans, the Warner Brothers Discovery is going down. Boycott everything until we finally get what we want. But why? It's toxic. It's not fun. You take away all of the enjoyment of being a fan when you do things like this. And it's not just for other people, but you're doing it to yourself. You're doing it to yourself. What is the point of that? You hate something so much that you make it your mission on social media to constantly call them out. Newsflash, guys. This is all make-believe. None of it is real. Not Star Wars, not Star Trek, not DC, not Marvel. Marvel fans are starting to get to that point as well. This whole idea that, if you don't make what we like, then F you, is absurd. You heard me talking about it just a little bit ago when it comes to Marvel. I'm a Marvel fan. I like the Marvel films. I'm a bigger DC guy, but I still enjoy the Marvel films. I've given every single project that is released a chance. Every single one. Despite all of the bullcrap that has come out over the last 3 years, I've still given every single project a chance. The man-hating She-Hulk film, the feminists, what was it? The MCU stuff, all of that. I give it a chance. What was the last one that just came out? I can't even remember what the last one was that came out. Regardless, I've given it a chance. Just as I'm going to do with DC. Just as I will do with Star Wars. Star Wars is my first love. Star Wars got me through some tough times as a kid. Han, Luke, and Leia, they were my friends growing up. Get home from school on a Friday night. And, I just threw in A New Hope. And watched all 3 of the original trilogy in one night. Pull out my toys. Have my Millennium Falcon running around the house with it. And I will still, regardless, even with how bad the sequel trilogy was, I will continue to give it a shot. Well, maybe not the Acolyte, but that's another topic for another day. But you see, when it comes to being a fan of something, it's no fun to be negative. It's no fun to beat down other fans. Oh, isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? Or the kettle calling the pot black? Whatever that saying is. Here's the thing. Yeah, over the last few months, 6 months or so, maybe more, I've been pretty critical of the Snyder fans. I've pushed back quite a bit. And the reason for that is because what they're trying to do is destroying the fandom. I guess what I'm doing isn't helping. And honestly, you get to a point, and I kind of got to that point today when I realized, all of my pointing out facts and truths and reasonableness, and intelligence when it comes to the movement, it doesn't matter because they're never going to listen. They're just not. But where it does matter, I've found on social media the past few weeks, people following me, people starting conversations with me because they see that there's a section of the fandom of being a Snyder fan, of being a DC fan. They see that there's a section out there that isn't toxic and negative towards the brand. And they want to get excited too. They want to be excited about everything just like I am, just like hopefully you are. And that is what we need to do. We need to be excited. Are we going to love every movie, every show that comes out from DC, from Star Wars, from Marvel, from Star Trek, to Lord of the Rings, to all of it? No, we're not. And if we did, I would say there's a problem with us and not the product. We're not going to love everything because not everything is made for us in that particular way. Not everything hits us the same way. I don't know how else to put it, but film and TV and any forms of art are all subjective. On my one video the other day, one of a longtime viewer, which I'm surprised he's not on here today, Jay Cassil, I think is how you say his name, Jay Castle. I was posting how Man of Steel, in my opinion, and I said in the video, Man of Steel, in my opinion, is the greatest superhero origin film to come out. And he comments and he goes, well, what about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, or 78 Superman, or Batman Begins, or he mentioned these other origin films that, hey, they're good movies. And in some regards, they're great. But to me, Man of Steel is the best of the origin stories. That doesn't take away from your enjoyment. That doesn't take away from another person's enjoyment of, say, Spider-Man or Superman or Batman. No, you can think that those ones are better than Man of Steel. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's where all fandoms need to get back to. For some reason, we've all decided to jump at each other. And it doesn't make sense. I've often said, some of the most fun parts of being a fan of pulp culture, some of the most fun is the speculation, the anticipation, the excitement. We should all be speculating right now what James Gunn has up his sleeve for DC. We should all be speculating what Lucasfilm has up their sleeve for the upcoming films that they've announced. We should be trying to figure out, when are they going to bring X-Men into the MCU? But that's not what happens. That's not what's going on. What goes on is, hey, I like The Last Jedi. No, you can't like The Last Jedi. You're just a fanboy. Hey, I liked Miss Marvel. You're not allowed to like Miss Marvel. How dare you? That piece of garbage made for kids? How could you like that? The quality was terrible. I didn't like Obi-Wan. Well, how could you not like Obi-Wan Kenobi? That show was phenomenal. And there's constant fighting because there's no understanding. People refuse to realize that people can like different things. And it's really hurting pulp culture. It's really making it hard for there to be enjoyment in pulp culture. I've been sitting here for a number of weeks. This has nothing to do with me not being on the last couple weeks. I've just had a busy life. But for about a month or so, I've been sitting back thinking, is this the route I want to continue? Do I want to continue talking about pulp culture and film and television? Because I love that. I love talking about it. But I love other things. I love technology. I would love to sit down and just have a technology podcast and just talk about new technology that has come out. Do videos on new technology. That'd be great. I don't have the time to do both. But the way things have been going in the pulp culture world, with how toxic and divisive every fan base has become, it's made it so difficult because you almost have to tiptoe around things. And that's not how fandom should be. That's not how it should be. Do you like Star Wars? Yeah. Amazing. I like Star Wars too. Hey, there's a few movies I didn't like. There's a few TV shows I didn't like. But overall, Star Wars is my jam. DC? Hell yeah. I love DC. I'm a big fan of what Snyder did, but I understand why they're moving on from him. Yeah, I wish it would stay. I wish it would bring back Zack Snyder. Hey, that's cool, man. That's cool. Hey, I got this hashtag over here, animate the Snyderverse. I think that's a much better possibility than restore. But hey, let's have a discussion. MCU hasn't been great lately, but that doesn't take away from the greatness that the first 10 years was. And I'm hopeful that they can get it back on track. Those are the conversations we should be having. And it's a damn shame that this is what we're seeing. This crap here. We shouldn't even worry about who's in charge of what studio. You know why we shouldn't worry about it? You know why it shouldn't matter? Because all we should care about is the art. We should care about the art that is being made. And that, my friends, is why pulp culture fandom has failed pulp culture. It's unfortunate. I wish it wasn't true. But they have. And it's made it really difficult to be a fan of pulp culture.